So now we're going to elaborate on the how of transformation based on that reading, all the prior work. So we're going to move into how and get very specific about how do you transform based on what you're noticing. So this is a reading from Around the Year with Emmett Fox, July 27th. It's called Clarity and Interest. The key to life is to build in the mental equivalence of what you want and to expunge the equivalence of what you do not want. You build in the mental equivalence by thinking with clearness or definitiveness and interest. Remember, clarity and interest. Those are the two poles. If you want to be healthy, joyful, prosperous, doing the constructive work, having a continuous understanding of God or Spirit or the Tao, you think, feel, and get interested in these ends. What we call, quote, feeling in connection with thought is really interest. Now, that's a very important statement. So if you look at Joe Dispenza's work, his basic method is what he calls mental rehearsal, which is doing the opposite of what the false self is telling us. For example, going back to errors in perception, I am not worthy, so I am worthy. So when we mentally rehearse, not only do we think I am worthy, we also attach what Joe Dispenza calls an elevated feeling. For example, enthusiasm. 99 times in 100, the reason why people do not demonstrate is that they lack feeling in their desires or prayers. How are you going to expunge the wrong mental equivalence? Suppose you have a mental equivalent of resentment or of unemployment or of criticism or of not understanding your true nature or God or Spirit. The only way to expunge a wrong mental equivalent is to supply the opposite. Another important statement. So look at the errors in perception and supply the opposite through mental rehearsal. The right thought automatically expunges the wrong thought, and by the way, that is now being confirmed through brain-based research. It's called neuroplasticity. If you say, quote, I am not going to think resentment anymore, what you are thinking about is resentment. The key to the management of your thinking, and therefore the key to the management of your destiny, is to substitute an affirmative thought for a negating thought. So Emmett is very clear in pointing out that rather than focusing on what we don't want, focus on what we do want. The other thing that's in here is this whole idea of substitution. So that refers us back to the 7 principles that govern thought. So think about that description, that govern thought. So our thoughts are no longer thinking us, we're thinking our thoughts. So we're in the driver's seat. So once again, I would encourage you to go back and look at those 7 principles that govern thought. Take control of your life and your adventure. Now we're going to move into a list of power words. And we're going to make this as experiential as possible. I'm going to read down the list. And these words are words that you can follow the mighty I am presence that you are. So, for example, you can start by plugging in I am blank. So let me give my definition of I am. I am is a primary declaration of the true self or the essential self, and it is the opposite of the false self. So it is our essence. It's our beingness. If you remember from one of the earlier videos, I defined power as able to be, and I think I left it blank, so now I'll fill it in, able to be who and what we truly are. And also to be able. One of the things about our power that's intrinsic to our nature is we can change our mind. At all levels, we can change our mind. I call it the mind complex. We can change our emotions, and one way to do that is go back to McLaren's work. We can change our thoughts using the 7 principles that govern thought, and so on. So we are able to change our mind. So power is to be able to change our mind. And there are other powers we can access we'll talk about in the future. So I am is a primary declaration of our true self. So I have a list of powerful words that you can use to substitute and use the other principles that govern thought. So I'm going to walk down this list rather slowly, and you can decide which of these words are a primary declaration of who you are in your essence. So the first word is prosperous, confident, healthy, fun, vital. I am fully alive. Attractive. And that is not limited to our bodies. In fact, it's not our bodies at all. Sensual. I am satisfied. I am ecstatic. Blissful. Serene. Peaceful. Wise. Emmett again says that wisdom is the perfect balance of intelligence and love. Honest. Humorous. Loving. Kind. Emotionally powerful. Magnetic. Accepting. I am speaking my truth about me. Merciful. Intuitive. And by the way, there is a book by, I think, Annie Besant that addresses the whole idea of intuition. And she's saying that intuition is one of the highest, if not the highest, forms of intelligence. I am compassionate. I am forgiving, understanding, balanced. Balance is a very important word. We can think about balance across domains, like family and relationships and money, etc. I am protected. I am safe. I am generous, content, aware, lovable. I am positive, industrious, energetic, focused, capable. I am self-loving, humble, responsible. There's that word again. Responsible versus reactive. Notice reactive is in reference to the past. Reactive. Spontaneous. Adventurous, daring. I am excited. Effective. Enthusiastic. Able to relax. I am inspired. I am connected. I am timely. I am passionate. I am insightful. Blessed. Artistic. Creative. I am guided. I am successful. I am joyful. I am clear. I am divine. So, hopefully in that list you'll find some assertions about who and what you truly are. It's very important to practice these I am statements. There is a whole lot of literature about I am, including a series called the I am discourses. So the I am discourses are very powerful. And that may be the end of the story. I'm not sure. That was your cue.
Was that last comment? Does that last comment stay in there or part of the video?
That's up to the editor.